All right, think fast. As if you don't, if you're a viewer of this show, would you give your employee a raise if they just skipped work altogether to strike? Well, hundreds protesting across the country today for a $15 minimum wage. Many of them walking out of their jobs to do so. I assume a lot of their bosses know it, but what do I know? Fox Biz All-Stars are back with us. Gina, Julie, Veronica. Gina, what do you think?
I think we need some math tutors around here, Neil. The simple fact is, even though this is a sort of perennial trick of the labor union bosses to get these folks to do this, the reality is that if they do the math, they'll figure out pretty quickly that, you know, a lot of these people are employed at McDonald's and restaurants like that cater to what? The middle and lower income families. This is going to drive up food costs for those families. This is not a smart way to get what they want.
What do you think?
The franchisees are already very stretched, especially if you look at a place like McDonald's. Their same-store sales in the U.S. are under pressure. Where do the franchisees get the money to do this is what I want to know, and how that's going to affect costs and their business.
Julie, I'm actually for raising the minimum wage. I am. I'm in the Mitt Romney camp that says you do this slowly,
You're
carefully.
the Julie Roginski camp.
Really?
I love it, yeah.
Oh, okay, then let me change my position. My only... All right, it's one thing to get to, let's say, even $10.10 an hour. It's quite another to make it 13, to make it 15, to make it 6. I think in L.A. someone wants to make it 22.50, whatever it is. That's L.A. But I'm saying, like, come on. There is a better way, a more organized way to go about this, isn't there?
Well, first of all, you have the right to strike in this country, so I don't understand the horror that people are actually striking. You're allowed to do that. People do it all the time. Try living in New York City for $15 an hour. You're not going to be able to do it. Most of these people...
Who pays that?
By the way, most of these people are women who are single moms. Try raising a family.
Well, what percent of the workforce is at the minimum wage?
Quite a bit.
3%.
Quite a bit.
3%.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
All right, fine.
So what do you begrudge 3% for getting a little bit of a bump?
All right, but who pays that?
Neil, this is about lining the pads of the labor bosses. Let's be clear about this. This absolutely is. If they were so concerned about that middle class or that working guy, they wouldn't be importing illegals to take their jobs. So let's just start with the facts, because if they really did care, they'd be doing things differently from the
Maybe
start.
then if we hiked the minimum wage, we wouldn't have to worry about illegals. Or would we actually make the illegal situation worse?
Hiking the minimum wage is never the answer. It economically doesn't work.
Well,
I'm shocked to hear that you're for it.
You know, love you to death. I love all of you to death. But here's why I can make an argument that it should be lifted, I mean, just to reflect times, and then once lifted, index it to inflation, end this debate. But I will say this, that we lose sight of the fact that someone bears that cost. That's my only point, that someone bears this cost. Now, maybe Americans are quite happy and willing to pay more for burger, more of this. I'm arguing that it just doesn't come out of thin air.
Right. You can't just print it out of nowhere. Exactly. And, you know, companies like McDonald's, a lot of these fast food chains have already automated some jobs. I think when we keep seeing pressure like this...
Julie doesn't go to these places. Julie, have you ever been on the New Jersey Turnpike and stopped at these restaurants? Of course, you wouldn't, because you're very healthy.
Of course.
There's a Roy Rogers. Is it a Roy Rogers?
Yes, there is a Roy Rogers. They have the franchise on the
Turnpike. He's a healthy eater. But I tell you, everything at that damn place is automated. You get up, you practically make your own damn burger. You cash yourself out.
I wish...
And I'm just saying, that's without the minimum wage going up. What? So I'm thinking minimum wage goes up. I tell you, I'm going to be in the kitchen making my meal, right?
No, wrong. Let me give you my theory of trickle-down economics, right? You're a minimum wage worker. All of a sudden, you get a bump. Guess who's going to be able to go?
And then he or she is going to buy all this
They're going to go to Roy Rogers or the Turnpike and buy themselves a burger, and that's how the cycle of life works.
Well, good thing, because you can get it on a completely automated facility.
You know what? I've been to the Starbucks at the New Jersey Turnpike,
why is that not a shock?
I wish they were automated, because that is the longest line in America.
Gina, all I'm saying is be careful what you wish for. Because you can push a lot of these businesses that will look at making adjustments as a result.
But it ultimately means less jobs. We all know that the corporate CEOs that we dream about taking these massive pay cuts aren't going to take a massive pay cut because the union pulled another Alinsky tactic on them, Neil. They're going to hire less people, which is going to impact the middle and lower class even more.
Julie doesn't see it. She's driving right by the Roy Rogers to the Starbucks.
The Roy Rogers is a little gross on the Turnpike. They don't have that barrier.
Oh, you are despicable. But you are very nice to have.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, just kidding.